Hi guys, welcome to Origin. This is going to be a follow-up to my video Music Today Sucks, Why? There were a lot of great responses to that video in the comment section and in video responses. What I want to do now is focus on 5 specific points which I'm going to phrase in the form of questions. Number 1. Are there any artists in the mainstream at the moment that you like even just a bit? And if so, why? Question number 2. If you think that current mainstream music sucks, then give one example of an artist or band that you feel embodies everything you hate about current mainstream music, or at least most of these aspects, and of course describe what these aspects are. Question number 3. I've heard this statement a couple of times that certain kind of music has no soul. Now, if you would say that kind of thing, then what I want you to do is describe as precisely as you can what you mean by the word soul. Question number 4. From what I've seen, Nickelback is a particularly hated band. Now, if you hate this band, why? And also, why do you think this particular band is targeted? Now, I understand the criticisms. People have said that their songs all sound the same and that they shamelessly pander to the mainstream. But I also have to point out that they do play their own instruments and they write their own songs. Now, contrast that with what I would say is most pop acts, whose songs sound the same and who obviously pander shamelessly to the mainstream and who don't write their own songs and, you know, in many cases can't even sing live. So if we're going by the reasons that are given from what I've heard as to why people hate Nickelback, why is that hatred not equally shared with pop stars, or is it? Am I missing that? Because it just seems to me that Nickelback have this kind of anti-cult following. In other words, a cult following of hatred, which I don't see around certain other pop stars that I would feel are probably more deserving of that hatred if we're going by that criteria. And lastly, question 5, what do you think of Spotify? Now, I'm going to outline a hypothetical situation and just forget about whether or not it's practical. That doesn't matter. But just imagine that one day Spotify were to primarily determine the chart positions. For example, downloads do that now for the most part. But what if one day it was things like Spotify? In other words, the number of plays that a song gets is how high it goes in the charts. Would you see that as an improvement on the current situation or even worse? Now, I haven't given this a lot of thought, but I would say that at the moment downloads are primarily to blame for the state of current mainstream music. And I'd say that if this hypothetical situation were to become a reality, then things like Spotify would give us a better platform on which to initiate our generation's equivalent of the grunge revolution of the 90s, or, you know, punk in the 70s, or even rock in the 50s, you know. Whatever's going to happen in our generation, if it does, I would say is more likely to happen if Spotify were to primarily determine the charts. I mean, it's just a thought. Like I said, I haven't given it much thought, but I want to see what you guys think about that as well. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.